Alright, today's lesson number 4, adding and subtracting mixed numbers with different denominators. So again, we're not doing anything new today. We're just combining different things that we've done over the past month or so. So the first step we have to do is rewrite our fractions with a common denominator. Once we have our fractions rewritten with a common denominator, it's the exact same thing that we did yesterday. So let's go ahead and get to some example problems here. So I have 4 and 4/5 minus 1 and 1/10. So here's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to find my least common denominator. Between 5 and 10 is actually going to be, you got it, 10. So I'm just going to rewrite that number. Then for 4 and 4/5, my whole number stays the same. I only need to rewrite my equivalent fraction. So how did I get from 5 to 10? I multiplied by 2. So that's what I have to do at the top. So I'm going to have 8/10 at the top. Now, this problem looks exactly like what we did yesterday. So what am I going to do? I'm going to do 8 minus 1 gives me 7/10. 4 minus 1 is 3. So I should have a final answer of 3 and 7/10. I don't have anything to simplify there. All right, so let's try this problem. My least common denominator between 5 and 4 is going to be 20. So the first thing I need to do is rewrite my fractions. So how did I get from 5 to 20? I multiplied by 4. So I'm going to have 8/20. My equivalent fraction here will be multiplying by 5. So it's going to be 15/20. Now I'm ready to add my fractions together. 8 plus 15. 8 plus 15 gives me, oops, go over just a little bit there. 8 plus 15 gives me 23 over 20. 9 plus 3 is 12. So now I'm going to end up with, I have an improper fraction, so I need to simplify that. So I'm going to have 12 plus 1 and 3/20. So my final answer is going to be 13 and 3/20. All right, go ahead and hit pause and try the you-try problems, and I'll be back with the correct answers. So go ahead and hit pause. Here are our answers. Here are my I've rewritten my fractions with common denominator, so my least common denominator is going to be 12. Final answer, 7 and 1/12. And down here, least common denominator is 18. I end up with an improper fraction, so I have to simplify. My final answer is 15 and 7/18. I believe our next page is our we actually have a couple more problems too together here. So let's do 4 and 1/6 is going to stay the same because 6 is my least common denominator. 2/3 will change into times 2 would be 4/6. So I'm going to end up with 3/6 with a fraction and 2 for a whole number. And what's wrong with this answer? You got it, it's not in simplest form. So let's go ahead and make that into simplest form. And my final answer is 2 and 1/2. Over here, we're going to have to find a least common denominator. So I'm going to go ahead and write in my whole numbers. And my least common denominator between 10 and 6 is going to be 30. So 9 times 3 is 27. 6 times 5. So we have to do times 5. So we're going to have 5/30. 27 plus 5 is 32. 30ths, and 11 is my whole number. So my final answer is going to be, actually this won't be my final answer yet, but I'm going to have 12 and 2/30ths, which then I will need to reduce to 12 and 1/15. Go ahead and hit pause again and try the U tries, and I'll be back with the answers. All right, here are the answers to the U-try problems. The least common denominator is going to be 8. So I have 2 and 7/8 minus 1 and 4/8 for a final answer of 1 and 3/8. And then for my last one, I'm going to have a least common denominator of 20. Final answer, 13 and 19/20. If there is anything that you need to go back and rewatch, be sure that you do that. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow for our stamp page bell work problems in class. See you then.